up, fellas? So we had the dyno day yesterday. Everything went pretty well. Nobody had any issues aside from Kevin. His car was breaking up towards the top of the tack. I think it might be a fuel delivery issue that he's got to resolve with the lines, maybe. Other than that, everything went pretty well. I think we had 9 cars there, so it was a good turnout. I didn't advertise on Facebook like I normally do because there's a big Emerald Coast Mustang show over at towards Mobile over in Alabama. So I didn't advertise it, but we had a good turnout anyway. Sometimes it gets a little rough when there's so many cars there. Not rough on us, but rough on Johnny and them. You know, it's a lot of spend 15-20 minutes per car getting it all strapped down, make a couple of runs over the course of 3 or 4 minutes, and then they're done. They got to take it all out again. So Johnny had his youngest son, and then he had another kid there helping him out, so it's less hassle on Johnny. But like I said, we had a good turnout, had good fun. Eric brought 3 boxes of donuts again, so appreciate him for that. And then afterwards we went to Whataburger. So my car, this turd here, I didn't have, obviously I just got it running that morning. I put it back together with the regular injectors after I fixed that one. And so I didn't have the tune dialed in. So I mean, the wide open throttle stuff, that's the easy part. That is easy. The idle, you know, where it idles and returns to idle, that takes more time. I'm getting there. I did a little bit with it last night when I got back, and then again this morning. I was supposed to go to the track today with some of the other guys, but just to drive over there and get some miles on the clutch. But when I went to restart it again last night, the battery was dead. So I got to make sure I got that fixed before I go driving 2 hours away. I got plenty of stuff to do here, so I'm just going to stay here today and then try to ride up there again some other time. I think Pirate said he's going to be back here. He'll be here for the next Sunday's track day, so we'll try to ride up by then. And so my car, Johnny made his first pull on it. It made 378 or 380, something like that, and that was right where I anticipated it to be. But then Johnny says, no, the tires are spinning. So he asked me how much air pressure I had in the back, and I said, I think it's 28. So he let it down to 25. He ran it again, 411. And I didn't look at the computer picture. I just looked at the top left where the numbers are, and it said 411 at 5,850 RPM, and then it made 370 foot-pounds at 5,750 RPM. So I didn't think about that till later on. I got home, and I was like, that's close in RPM when you're on every, it's a given. Your RPM, your horsepower is going to be going up, and your torque is going to be kind of coming down at, depending on where the peaks are. And typically, you know, on an engine, something like this, it's going to be a higher number, and it's going to be further out in RPM range because the horsepower line and the torque line always cross at 52, no matter what. So I didn't have the picture of the torque line or the lines further to the right, and I thought it just seems to me like they should, if it's going to cross at 5,200, the horsepower line ought to be further to the right. It ought to be making horsepower at like 6,300, 6,400, which is kind of where I thought it should be, not at 5,800. So I don't guess any of the other guys took pictures or got video of it. I've completely zoned out taking a video of the run or anything like that, because Kevin usually is doing that stuff. I guess the whole, all the stuff I had to endure to get the car ready, I forgot about bringing Anthony his carburetor. He and I together bought those two 850 Hollies from Kevin that he used to have on his Camaro when he had a supercharger on it. So we split the cost in half, and he got one and I got the other. And I was supposed to bring the other one to Dyno Day. Well, guess what I forgot? So tomorrow I gotta put it in a box and mail it up to him. But it's just kind of emblematic of all the stuff that went on, you know, the couple days prior. When I always like to have everything ready beforehand and not be trying to jam on it the day before, like I did with the 347 car, where I got to run it the night before and had to take it up there the next morning last time. So I need to do a lot better in that regard. But yeah, it's like I said, I'm not trying to question the results. It's just it's got to make sense in my noggin before I'm comfortable with it. So I'm gonna send a picture to a couple guys and see what they think. Some of the people more versed in it than I am, and maybe it'll show up in Kevin's dyno or something. That's my only. Like I said, it was just a little bit higher than what I anticipated and at a lower RPM, which, like I said, is what I want to try to make sure I got my brain wrapped around, that it's possible that way. It's not, because every once in a while, you know, not flicking boogers at Johnny, but sometimes the reading will be off a little bit. Like Kyle had I think he had a stock short block, stock P heads, stock Victor, a 650 carb, and it made like 350 RPM or horsepower, which was right in line with what Rodney made with what's that one car, Krusty, and it had I forget what the combination was. He had iron high parts on it, I think, and a bigger cam, and it made about that power. So something, like I said, sometimes it can be a little bit off. It's just kind of, sometimes I take it with a grain of salt, because I think we generally have a good idea of what kind of power they'll make, and when they go kind of outside that range, it kind of makes you wonder. But that's just me. I blabbered on long enough. I just wanted to tell you all what it made. I think I might have read a little high, but I guess the final thing is when we go to the track, when I can take atmospheric data, the weight, and then the ET in a mile an hour. That gives a better picture of the power you're making rather than a dyno. Like I said, the dyno is just a tool, just like a torque wrench or a laptop or a screwdriver. You just got to use it with all the other things and try to make the most of all of it. Alrighty, appreciate y'all. So I wanted to do a follow-up because I forgot to mention it in the first part of this about the oil pan. The brand new wind oil pan. The really weird part, I mean, I understand sometimes they leak. The welds aren't, you know, they're not I guess they're not robots doing it, but there's just a little pinhole where, like, there's a little gap in the weld. So what struck me as odd about it, after I thought about it, that whole first part of the week when I had the 1040 Pennzoil that Brandon's roommate left when he moved out, that was in there. I think I had a quart of transmission fluid and maybe a quart of 30 weight Valvoline. So I had 5 quarts plus of oil in there all week. Started up and ran it here and there. Had it idling for like 10 minutes while I was bleeding the back brakes. No leaks except for the drain plug. Drain that conglomeration out, and then put in 5 quarts of 530 Valvoline synthetic. Boom, I get a leak right off the bat. It's like, why didn't it leak before? So I wouldn't have to be scrambling trying to weld it the night before I'm trying to drive it. But anyway, it's got it resolved. Just put a little zap on the, clean it off with a wire wheel, then alcohol, and then hit it with the welder, and then I put JB Weld over the top of it. I was kind of questioning welding oil pan when there was obviously going to be oil residue inside there, you know, and stuff. But I didn't die, so that's good. And it doesn't leak except for out of the drain plug still, even after I put Teflon tape on it and this stuff. Put that on there, and that still leaks out of the back drain plug. So next time I'll have to use the Ultra Black or something like that instead of just the Teflon tape. But anyway, that's something to look out for. You know, check the seams on all the where the welds are, that there's no gaps or anything like that on them, and hopefully yours don't leak. All right, appreciate y'all. Later on.